Okay, so let me start by giving a quick overview of what we'll cover today. We'll begin with a short introduction to VLM Run, what it is, the problem it solves, and how it fits into the visual AI landscape. Then we'll spend a few minutes about talking about the capabilities of VLM Run, how it supports visual ETL, multimodal data, and structured outputs. From there, we'll dive into the heart of the session, which is the Voxel51 plugin, where we'll walk you through examples like document parsing, captioning, layout, all in one location. After that, I'll give you a quick sneak peek into VLM Agents, a framework we are launching soon for building our own visual AI workflows. So let's start with the foundation. What is VLM Run? In simple terms, VLM Run is a unified API for visual AI, purpose built for what we call visual ETL. That's extract, transform, and load operations for visual data. Think about all the kinds of visual data we work with today, which is images, videos, scanned documents, web pages, dashboards, slides. All of them contain valuable information, but it's locked away in pixels. What VLM Run does is take these visual inputs and turn them into structured JSON outputs using specialized visual language models. Under the hood, it's powered by our base model, which is the VLM1, and the beauty is in its simplicity. It's one unified API for all visual tasks. It produces structured JSON with confidence scores and citations. It delivers over 98% accuracy on field level. And we have industry specialized VLMs as well. For example, for finance, healthcare, retail, and more, all of these are tailored accurately and retained from scratch for particular industries. Now, to make this more tangible, let's look at a few examples of what VLM Run can handle. Here you can see a market check broadcast, a Ralph Lauren e-commerce page, a handwritten patient referral form, a consulting report, and even a presentation deck. Each of this looks totally different. Different layouts, fonts, structures, and even media types. But VLM Run processes them all through the same pipeline. That's what we call visual ETL. It's like having a universal visual understanding engine that takes in any kind of visual data, whether it's text heavy, image rich, or layout based, and produces structured, queryable information in JSON form. This makes it incredibly easy to feed that output directly into analytical systems, search indices, or downstream AI agents. Okay, so I'll go into the capabilities. Let's dive into some of the capabilities which make this possible. First, VLM Run is ETL ready. It's what is ETL? It can take any type of documents like PDF, images, or long form videos and straight spit out a structured JSON. Ingest them directly into your database or a JSON store. For example, it can process like large documents, like up to 100 pages long. It can handle different file formats like PNGs, TIFFs, GIFs, and etc. And we can even handle a long video from 1 second to all the way to 4 hours. And whether you are dealing with like enterprise reports, scanned invoices, or recorded meetings, you can now treat all that visual data as structured and searchable. The second major capability is comprehensive visual AI support. What do you mean by that? It is like one API call where you can do like different vision tasks like captioning, tagging, object detection, layout parsing, and even OCR. Traditionally, you would need multiple models and pipelines to handle each of these tasks, but here they're all unified under one API. Here you can look that we are able to do image captioning with a single line and similarly invoice as well as video transcript. It's one consistent interface, no juggling multiple SDKs or APIs. This makes it very developer friendly and incredibly scalable. Now, what really makes this powerful for developers and enterprises is the ability to customize your output schemas. You can define your own structured output using Pydantic, which gives you strict typing and automated validation of the JSON output. Why this is helpful? This uh, lets you extract exact details from an invoice. For example, if you generally you don't want all the details in the invoice, you just want the ID or the issue or the total. And this kind of a structured JSON format helps you extract that exact details from the JSON and not extract all the other details similar to OCR. You can even define optional fields, literals, and other tool called dynamics here. And to make it much easier, we have open sourced about 50 ready to use industry templates. So you can start with something that already fits for your use case and customize it from there for all of your use cases. Next, let's talk about ownership. With the VLM Run, you can actually own your visual AI infrastructure as well. You can fine-tune models for your specific use cases in just like 5 lines of code. The fine-tuning process takes your label data, your JSON schema, and automatically adapts the model for your domain, whether it's medical forms, invoices, resumes, or inspection reports. Once fine-tuned, you can deploy the model anywhere. Either it could be on-prem, on your private cloud, or even air-capped environments. That means you retain full control over your data, privacy, and compliance. The idea is to accelerate your roadmap and get production-ready visual intelligence without needing a large ML team. Now let's put all this into perspective with a quick comparison. In most enterprises and developers today, you will find like legacy RPA based methods. These are brittle, hard coded, and fail when layouts change. There is a huge paradigm which is like OCR plus LLM, which is like you could run like test track plus like a OpenAI chat GPT and then extract data. But this often struggles with like grounding and the structure. And there is this generic like large language models like GPT, Gemini, which are powerful, but they do not enforce schema or cannot be fine-tuned on your data. On the other end, we have VLM Run, which is like schema perfect JSONs. You can field level cite any of the data. It handles multimodal ingestion, and you have a drop-in SDK and webhook. It delivers enterprise grade accuracy, which is like nearly 98% with on the fields you want to extract. Essentially, it combines the reliability of structured systems with the intelligence of large models. So, all right, now let's switch gears. So let's look at some practical applications, right? Like, so here we are going to show how you can take this and visualize all your data in Voxel 51. For those of you using Voxel 51 for dataset management and visualization, we have built a plugin which works out of the box. No need to export files or call APIs manually. It's all embedded right there in your dataset UI. When we talk about scaling visual AI, one of the biggest hurdles is operational integration, actually getting models to run where your data lives. That's exactly what this plugin solves. Instead of exporting, transforming, and managing data between systems, you can now bring VLM Run's entire visual intelligence stack directly into Voxel 51. It's a shift from isolated model testing to embedded AI capability. This matters because most of you guys already rely on like Voxel 51 for data curation and inspection. But integrating here, Visual ETL becomes seamless, meaning teams can focus on building like getting insights, not managing the whole infrastructure of the model and like inference and stuff like that. Let's start with one of the most practical and powerful use cases, which is invoice processing. Invoices are a perfect example of high value, high friction data. They contain structured fields, but exist in widely inconsistent formats. Here, I'm showing an example of how we are able to like integrate this into Voxel 51, where this is not an exact OCR problem, like similar to all other models where you extract all the details. We just asked for invoice ID, invoice date, and customer data and the total, and it exactly only extracts that information from there, as you can see on the right, and it only visualizes what is needed. If you ask for more details like all the items, it would extract these as well. So it is very customizable. It only extracts what you need, and that is a very powerful a tool to in downstream tasks. And then I'm showing you other examples for like retrieval and stuff like that. It's a very simple like layout detection task. where you can just go select our layout detection format, where now you can just go visualize all the headers, all the tables, and everything in a very structured format. The advantage of this is most of our customers or like general public use this for visual retrieval, as Harpreet was saying earlier. Like this is a very powerful tool for understanding the initial data and like doing visual retrieval as well. So we not only do like object like documents, the same tool can be used to do like different other open-ended tasks. Like for example, here I'm showing you an object detection task where we are looking at a industrial location where we are able to extract not only the persons, but even like what the person is wearing, like reflective vest, and all in like the same JSON consistent format. It is the advantage of this consistent format is you can plug it into like you can change the models in the backend. You can plug it into Voxel51 in an end-to-end format, and you don't need to worry about the representation in between or converting the representation as well. So similarly, if you are looking at like a lot of people work on person detection and stuff like that, and similarly, you can we have a endpoint exactly doing that as well, like where you can just go execute and then you are able to get like all the elements which you need. Yeah. And then finally, I wanted to show you about video parsing as well. Video is arguably the most richest and underutilized data source in enterprises so far. Hours of footage is often sitting unreviewed, and here we are able to process all this data in an end-to-end fashion. Where you can see we are doing a time-based extraction of all the details from this video. On the right, I'm showing you all the audio transcript of the video automatically extracted in a consistent JSON format, where we can visualize it in the Voxel51 UI as well. Um, before I go further, we are trying to build something novel here. So far, I have been talking about like how you can take our current API and like plug it into Voxel51 and make it work for all of your use cases. But what we are building is a step ahead, which we call as visual agents, where you can not only extract the details, but you can interact with the PDF or with the document and like do some more operations there with just a prompt. So here we have built some visual agents specifically for what do you call as um, healthcare customers. This here you can chat with an agent and say something like find and blur phi, which is like physically like whatever healthcare constrained artifacts. Can you blur these documents according to some HIPAA compliant? Then the agent will understand your intent, detect all the fields like your name, address, and stuff like that, and not only like detect them, not ground them, but also redact them automatically. You can do such like multiple other tasks. The key idea here is this is what we call as prompt to workflow, like where you give it a prompt and it will just build a whole workflow for you, and it will execute and give you the output either in a constrained JSON or a document with operations on top of it, like a redaction, filling, and editing and stuff like that in the future. So, so one application, as I was saying earlier, is we spend a lot of time on redaction because this is a very interesting use case where you need to understand what fields need to be extracted and not only ground them in the document, but also we need to do some additional post processing with like some vision tools. So again, this is again a very simple API call. It's like 2 lines of code, and you can just ask it for redacting like invoice or redacting details of like healthcare patient information in like a physical health therapy forms and stuff like that. We can even redact like driving licenses and like insurance data. So yeah, this is a pretty powerful end-to-end solution which we are providing. This is mostly our redaction agent, but in the future we hope to like build more workflows and get it to work for like much more visual use cases. I think yeah. in the interest of time, I've been a bit early, but I can take some time for Q&A here. Is there any questions?
Yeah, maybe I'll generalize the question in the Q&A, but maybe you could talk about the supported file formats. I know that you kind of went through that, but maybe just review the file formats that folks can parse using the plugin.
Yeah, I mean, currently I'm just showing like some file formats here, but basically the advantage is we support a lot of file formats, which is like PDFs, docs, PPT, like PowerPoint presentations or any document file type, right? And then we have support for a wide variety of images, which is like PNG, TIFF. We even support like raw image formats which come from HDR cameras. Not only that, like videos, we do all kinds of videos, and not only just the file format is important here. We do the length of the video is also pretty important. Where we can do a 4 hour video or a 2 hour video, which most of the other frontier models like Gemini can only do up to 30 minutes. But on the other hand, when you can like send a 1 hour video, we give a very detailed transcription. And for documents, we do all kinds of documents like PDFs and PowerPoint and stuff like that as well. Yeah.
And then there is a follow-up here is does it support PUB, the e-reader format? So I'm assuming this is going to be like on your Kindle and things like that.
Yeah, we do support EPUB. The interesting thing is I saw someone was asking about construction documents. We support a bunch of construction document layouts as well. Like we spend a lot of time fine-tuning the models for construction domain and like for financial domain and so yeah, we support a wide variety of documents and CAD models and stuff like that as well. So it is but that doesn't mean we support all of it yet. Like there are some which we are missing, but in general, like all the dominant document file types are currently supported.